Hey, Mavericks fans, before we jump into today's video, we're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're almost midway through July. Things are slowing down a bit in the association, but if we continue to see growth, we will continue to plug out daily videos. So if you want more content, hit that subscribe button. We're 742 subs away from 25K. Can we get there? Subscribe, tell a friend. Let's see if we can. You're watching Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. He is Jeffrey Cooperstein on the ones and twos, hanging out with us today. And Coop, we teased it yesterday. There was more potential developing storylines from Tim MacMahon's podcast that he did with Brian Dameris with ESPN. And we talked about the Mavs-specific guys yesterday. Go check it out if you haven't already. Jaden Hardy, Josh Green, potential trade buzz around those guys. Today, Coop, it's more about players they could be interested in. Apparently, Bojan Bogdanovic and Clint Capela are options on the table for Dallas.
Yeah, and these are two guys that the Mavs have been linked with for, it seems like, forever now.
For sure.
And especially with Bojan Bogdanovic, I know the Mavs have always liked him in the wing defense and offense he provides. And as far as Clint Capela, we know that the Mavericks were in discussions with the Hawks around the NBA draft on trying to acquire Capela. And it seems like the Mavs aren't ready to deem both of those deals completely dead yet. So it's interesting to see what they were trying to do. I think the bulk of their free agent work is done, so now it basically comes down to trades and what they're going to pivot to next.
Yeah, I mean, look, never say never, but Mark Stein did report that the Mavs don't view any available free agents as a mid-level exception target. So anybody they sign very possibly would be on the vet minimum. They might throw Seth Curry into the mid-level bucket, so we'll see what happens as far as free agency goes. I do think the potential focus is on a potential trade. And look, I've always liked Bojan Bogdanovic. He's very efficient. He's a great three-point shooter. He can also play ISO, like he can play in the post. He can, kind of have that pull-up midi game as well. He's a good catch-and-shoot guy. Wherever he's played, he's basically a 38 to 42% three-point guy, very efficient from the floor. I mean, you can make a strong argument. Coop last year was actually the best year of his career. 22 points, just about 49% from the field, 41 from three.
Dude just gets buckets.
He's a volume three-point shooter too, but that's not all he is. It's not like Tim Hardaway, who's basically just a catch-and-shoot three-point guy at this point. Bojan's a three-level scorer.
Yeah, he can score at all three levels. He can also defend pretty well as well. And for a guy of his size, he can kind of play the four, and he can do a little bit of everything there. And my favorite Mavs memory of Bojan was him missing that wide-open shot with Utah to basically end the Utah Jazz.
And I am shocked he missed that shot. Because
couldn't believe it.
Great play design, got the back screen. He pump faked, had a flying defender go by. It was a layup line three, and it just didn't go in. But he's an excellent player. Now,
so those are the arguments for him. The argument against him, and this is something that they touched on in the pod as well, the Mavericks are looking for more lanky, athletic wing defenders that can defend three positions. That is not what he is. He is not an athletic guy. He's not a guy that you can play 35 minutes a game. And he's also on the wrong side of 30, where I think the Mavs are trying to go the younger route.
Yeah, you almost wonder if this was a team coming off a trip to the finals and you're like, okay, Bojan is the one piece away from being a for sure.
The conversation changes,
finals
no doubt.
Team, but it helps you get better, and he does, I think, have a few years left in the tank. But the risk there is if, you send Detroit Josh Green or, dare I say, Jaden Hardy in a trade for Bojan Bogdanovic, and he doesn't really help you take a massive leap, and then you've given up on a 24 younger player. I think that's probably a potential question mark from Dallas, because Detroit's probably not going to take an offer of Tim Hardaway in a 2027 first for Bojan. I don't think. Maybe
that's what it sounds like. It appears that the Mavericks don't have the assets that the Pistons would want in a potential trade. I think if they were to offer Josh Green or Jaden Hardy, that might change the conversation a little bit, but I don't think the Mavs are prepared to do that for Bogdanovic.
Yeah, it's fun to think about. I mean, if you had Doncic, Kyrie, Josh Green, and Bojan, or maybe Bojan's him and Hardy is your bench, kind of just scoring flamethrower potential. It's fun to think about, but if you have to give up Josh Green, look, Bojan's obviously better. Coop and I have kind of come to the agreement that for a clear upgrade, we would be willing to trade Josh Green, but is a 33, 34-year-old Bojan Bogdanovic that? I think that's a fair question to ask. I think I would do that for a Paul George who's similar age, but gives you those athletic traits and excellent defense you're looking for, but
his value is still crazy high, and the Pistons are in no rush to trade him because they're not going anywhere. So what's the use of them not using him and just let him go off for 15 shots a game and get his 20 points.
Yeah, and I mean, they could easily trade him at the deadline, too. So we'll see what happens there. If the Mavs don't offer Hardy or Green, I don't think they're going to be able to get him. But if you guys want them to get Bojan, and even if that means giving up a Josh Green, like the video. And if not, comment why. Maybe you are concerned about his age or potential injury concerns. Only played in 59 games last year. So drop a comment or like this video.
I'm going to make fun of myself here because this was supposed to say Capela trade, not dead. I can confirm Capela is still alive.
He is with us. He is still breathing, unless something's happened in the last 3 seconds.
But the point that I was trying to make was Brian Dameris, who was also on the podcast with Tim MacMahon, he's a Mavs insider. He's been around the organization basically since its inception. He's saying that the Mavs and Capela talks aren't over with, and the Mavs still would like to revisit this at some point. Now, it would be difficult just because the Hawks' objective is to get off the Capela money, whereas the Mavs would have to probably trade a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. to get Capela back, and that doesn't really accomplish getting off the salary.
Yeah, I mean, is there a third team that, can absorb Tim Hardaway Jr.? There wouldn't be that many left. I don't even think the Spurs have enough cap space to absorb him at some point. I mean, you feel like to get Capela, there would have to be a third team involved in some way, shape, or form, because I don't think Atlanta wants 2 years and $36 million of Tim Hardaway. I think they'd rather keep Capela in that regard. Now, let me ask you this, Coop. Is Capela, who's I think 29 now, so still young-ish, is he a player you would trade Josh Green for? Like, is he of enough ilk? Because we've talked about this with DeAndre Ayton. We've been hesitant there. Would you do it with Capela to get him? Move Josh Green. Maybe you could move Josh Green, but keep that 2027 first. Maybe something like that is possible.
I don't think I would move Josh Green, and I don't think I would move a first-round pick for Capela at this point. I would have done it for the swap. Like, if the Mavs got 15 instead of 10, I would have done it there.
Sure.
But I'm not just trading a first-round pick for him at this point. I like Capela, and I think he's a good player. I think he makes the Mavs better. But from an asset management perspective, I don't think trading a first-round pick would be worth it.
Especially since Dallas only has one tradable first for the next 12 months at least. Like, you gotta pick your spots. Like, you gotta be, like, if you're gonna trade that pick, like.
This was my trade idea for it. This is kind of the most I would give up. I don't think I'm giving up that one first-round pick that they have available right now.
You're not doing Josh Green?
I wouldn't do Josh Green either, and I don't think this deal gets done. I just want to say that out there, but this is what I would give up if Capela was on the table.
Maybe a pick swap somewhere?
Yeah, you could do a pick swap. I also don't really fully understand the pick swap rules and, like, what all goes into that. Like, how many pick swaps can you offer someone? Who knows? The NBA salary cap's weird.
Well, the Suns just did a bunch of them.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, a pick swap could possibly be in play, but I'm not giving up the farm for Capela. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just like, could a Rashawn Holmes 52 days from now, whatever it is now, Tim Hardaway goes to a third team. In
I guess you
2 seconds,
could include Holmes in a third team deal, yeah.
Or I think more likely Hardaway goes to the third team because Holmes' contract is smaller, and it helps. It gives them a center to replace Capela at least a little bit. So it's interesting. We might cook up some Tim Hardaway trade ideas. You never know. Who would you guys rather have if all things were equal? And I do think they'd be similar, Coop. I don't think one of these guys has massive trade value over the other. I think they're in the same tier. Type C for Capela, B for Bogdanovic. I think I'd probably rather have Capela because he's a few years younger, and it gives you some time to develop.
He's a more pressing need.
And it develops Derek Lively. You don't have to force him into action if you don't want to. But let us know what you guys think. C for Capela, B for Bogdanovic. All right, Coop, before we get out of here, let's just kind of circle back to the third Summer League game last night. Mavs are now 2-1 in the Summer League. 1 in overtime, and I think my biggest takeaway, Coop, is easily the best game from Mike Miles Jr., who I love them picking up out of TCU. I obviously watched them play 50, 60 games.
Yeah, he got a chance to start yesterday after McKinley Wright was hurt, so he was out of the game. I like Miles, man. I think they got him on the two-way deal for a reason, and I think he has something to contribute in the NBA.
Despite being undersized, he's pretty bouncy. He's got a really good, especially when he's going right, he's got a good first step. He can beat people off the dribble, and his three-point shot kind of comes and goes, but he has a smooth stroke. He can get hot, which I think he started 3 of 4. I think he missed his fast few, but 19 points and 6 of 11, had a few assists as well. Plays scrappy defense, so I'm intrigued to see how the Mavs feel. What I like about him is he's gotten better every game. Like, you can tell
he's grown into it.
He's gotten more comfortable. Like, the first game, you're like, yeah, he's still feeling this out. Second game was a little better than yesterday. Was kind of that breakout game, so I like that. Jaden Hardy, the efficiency has been a little not great the last 2 games, but they're also basically telling him, hey, man, we're running
Go chuck
everything
shots
to you.
up.
Just go chuck. So I'm not too concerned. And he's gotten to the foul line a lot, which I really do like. He's been willing to get downhill more.
Yeah, he's being aggressive and going downhill for sure, and that's really what you want to see, just his array of scoring ability, which he has a lot of, and I think the Mavs are going to need this year. I think my biggest takeaway is Max Prosper. I didn't realize how big he was. I think he can play a lot of the 4 in the NBA. I think his length and overall size will allow him to do that.
And look, they may, between Grant Williams, Kleba, and Max, and Josh Green, more so as a 3, that might be like your 4 wings. Like
basically.
3s and 4s, where it's like, obviously Green's going to play 3, probably a little bit of 2. Kleba's going to play more 4. Grant Williams will play some 3, some 4, and so will Max probably. He'll play some 3, some 4. And I think between, those 4 guys, they're going to eat up almost all of your small forward and power forward minutes at this point, unless there is some addition that we don't see at this point.
Yeah, if there's an addition that's coming, that's great. But I think if you have those 4, you kind of feel pretty good about him. I think you feel better about him than you did a couple weeks ago, given how good Max has played so far.
Yeah, I mean, look, if they traded for a more proven wing,
that'd be great.
I don't think any of us would complain.
No one's complaining
about that. But, I think Max could at least give you 12 to 15 minutes.
That's kind of where they want him, I think, as well.
And I think, I saw a couple tweets about this, and I agree. I think he's less raw than like Dodo was at this point. Now,
yeah, he's a little more polished of a prospect. He's obviously also younger than Dodo was.
He was also younger, and look, it makes sense. Dorian Finney-Smith was undrafted. There was going to be more polishing that had to happen there. This guy went top 25. But my point is I think he can play NBA minutes right now. He's an NBA defender right away, and the shot, like it's not a bad form. Like
it can be worked on.
It's not a complete jank shot. Like I think it's passable enough where like wide open corner 3s, you're okay with him shooting those and at least shooting a decent clip.
Like Finney-Smith had to completely rework his shot when he came into the NBA, so he had to do a lot of work on that. Max doesn't need that much work. I think he just needs the reps and needs the confidence instilled in him from Luka and Kyrie to be able to knock those corner 3s down.
And real quick on Derek Lively, look, he's one of the best rebounders in the summer. Like he is a professional.
He's a good rebounder.
I think like 6 minutes into the game, he had like 2 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks or something. Like he around the basket, he is going to be someone who can contribute.
Yeah, he's going to eat it up on the defensive stat sheet for sure. And I like what Tim MacMahon said, that they're going to play him a lot in the G League. And I think they're going to give him 30 minutes a game down there and just let him eat on the boards.
I could see him like the first 2 months like playing sparingly for the Mavs, just playing a lot for the G League. But then like maybe like after the new year, like he's playing 15 minutes a night.
Yeah, that's possible. I think they'll ease him into the season, and then once the season goes on, they'll let him grow into his role.
Yeah. So one more summer league game to go, and then they'll have an additional one, right? We just don't know.
We just don't know who they're playing.
Very small chance they could make the Final Four bracket, but among the 2-1 teams, Coop, they're dead last in point differential, and that's the first tiebreaker. So
no summer league title for us.
Yeah, but hey, you win the next 2, you go 4-1. That'd be fun. Coach Duds, I think, is doing a good job. So,
summer league coach of the year, Jared Dudley.
Let's go, baby. All right, one more game tomorrow. We'll have thoughts on that, and then I think next Monday, once it's all done, we'll kind of recap all of summer league, big takeaways, winners and losers, and put that all into one video. So. He's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I'm Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button for more Mavericks videos, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with another video.